You know that feeling, right? You pick up a beautiful, sustainably made piece of clothing, you feel the quality, you love the design, and then you look at the price tag, and you just quietly put it back on the rack. I think we've all been there. But what if that price tag isn't really telling you the whole story? Let's talk about that.
The first thought that hits us is almost always, wow, why is this so expensive? It's just an instant reaction, that sticker shock. But here's a thought. Is the item actually expensive? Or has something else trained our brains to see it that way?
And really, that's the core of it. We have to ask ourselves, what has the world of fast fashion taught us to believe is a normal price for clothes? Maybe the problem isn't the cost of a well-made garment, but the illusion we've been sold about the cost of a cheap one.
So, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to peel back the layers of that price tag. We need to deconstruct this whole illusion of cheap. I mean, think about it for a second. For the last 20 years or so, the industry has been running this massive psychological experiment on us. It's a nonstop cycle of sales, new arrivals every week, and prices so low they feel almost impossible. We've been conditioned to see clothing as disposable and cheap as the default.
But here's the thing, the quiet truth nobody really talks about. When a price seems way too good to be true, it's because the real bill is being paid somewhere else. It's paid by the land, with soil that gets exhausted. It's paid by garment workers, with wages that are far too low. It's paid by our rivers, polluted with chemical dyes. And you know what? In the end, it's even paid by us, the consumers, with clothes that fall apart after just a few wears.
That low price tag, it's not a bargain, it's really just a debt. It's a bill that someone somewhere will have to pay down the line.
Okay, so if that's what's hiding behind a cheap price, then what are you actually paying for when you buy a sustainable garment? This is where we talk about the price of real, enduring value.
And this is where the whole perspective just flips. See, sustainable fashion isn't priced for a fleeting trend or a single season. It's priced for an entire life cycle. That price tag has to account for the time, the skill, the fair wages, and the quality materials that go into making something that's built to last. It all boils down to the fundamental question each side of the industry is asking. Fast fashion is constantly asking, will this sell fast? It's all about speed and volume. But sustainable fashion asks a totally different question. Will this last? The whole goal is longevity and value.
Now let's move away from the philosophy for a minute and just look at some simple, straightforward math, because this is where the idea of expensive really starts to fall apart.
Let's imagine a tale of two shirts. On one hand, you've got the fast fashion shirt for 800 rupees. On the other, the sustainable one for 2,400 rupees. Now, on the surface, the winner seems obvious, right? But the price tag is only half the story. The really important number here is lifespan.
So, let's say that 800 rupee shirt starts looking worn out after about 8 months. If you break it down, you've been paying about 100 rupees per month for that shirt. It felt cheap when you bought it, but it's an expense you'll likely have to repeat soon.
Now let's look at the expensive shirt. At $2,400, it feels like a big purchase. But if it's made well enough to last you 4 years, that's 48 months, your cost per month is suddenly just $50. The math is completely flipped on its head.
And that's the big reveal, isn't it? The shirt that seemed expensive was never actually expensive at all. It was just being honest about its true cost from the very beginning. You pay that cost once and you get lasting value, instead of paying a smaller cost over and over again.
But okay, it's not just about the numbers. There's another kind of return on your investment here, one that you'll never see on a receipt. Let's call it the emotional dividend.
There's just a different feeling when you wear something you know is made with care. It's a kind of quiet confidence. It's enjoying the quality and the softness without any nagging guilt. It's a sense of having exactly what you need, without the clutter of excess.
And that's the real shift that happens inside you. You're moving from being a passive consumer, just buying things on impulse, to becoming an active chooser. You're making deliberate, intentional choices, and that's incredibly empowering.
So suddenly, what you decide to put on in the morning becomes more than just about fabric and style. It becomes a reflection of what you actually care about. It's a values decision.
All of this, it's pointing to a much bigger shift that's happening in our culture. It's this quiet, steady move away from the idea of just having more stuff towards the idea of having better stuff. And I really want to be clear about this. This isn't just another fashion trend that will come and go. This is a sign of an evolution in how we think as consumers. It's a maturity curve. We're starting to value things like durability and impact just as much as we value novelty.
So, what if the next time you're about to buy something, you ask yourself a new question? Instead of, is this on sale? You ask, How long will this actually live in my wardrobe? How long will it serve me well?
And then maybe you can ask a second, deeper question. By choosing this, what invisible costs to the planet, to other people, am I refusing to support? It's a powerful thought.
It all really comes down to this simple but incredibly powerful mantra. Buy less, choose well, and wear it for longer. That's it. That's the foundation of a more intentional and, frankly, a more stylish wardrobe.
And I'll leave you with this final thought. True affordability isn't about finding the lowest number on the price tag. It's about finding the highest value over time. Because often, the cheapest thing you can own is the beautiful, well-made piece you never, ever have to replace.